Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Marketing Blender Show. I'm Dacia.
And I'm Daisy.
Now today we are talking about how to differentiate and how to win against big competitors. And actually, Daisy, I'm going to add how to win big against all competitors, because I really love this differentiation component. And I think it's a word that people toss around and then they just butcher the execution because they get so stuck inside of their own thinking and it doesn't translate to a marketing competitive advantage.
It's true. It's different. Within your own organization, it's easy to say, oh, well, we think this is different about us. We think that is, but you have to be looking outwardly. And it's actually not a bad thing to be competing against bigger players, because guess what? That's a big target to differentiate from. You can find all kinds of ways that your company is different and better for your ideal customers. And being smaller also means you have more agility, so you can make changes. IBM is not going to be able to make changes to its brand, but an organization where you have everyone on the same page and working together as a team to direct the brand narrative, you can very rapidly create a space of differentiation for yourself.
And it's interesting because we have some players that are small businesses or mid-market businesses, but they were the first. They were the originator in their market. And so they actually are the predominant competitor in their industry. And it's interesting because it's actually similar thinking. Like, even though they may not be the most agile or they may not be known for that David versus Goliath, they still have to think about, okay, what does being big, what does being first, what does that do to bring value to our market? And there is always value to your market, but that's the key about differentiation, is what do we have that drives value that other people can't claim.
It's true. Sometimes being first is what makes you different.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got to flip it into, why do people care? Now, the other one, the next one I should say that we want to bring up, is that the riches are in the niches. Now, I know you guys have heard this, but too often fear drives these decisions because people say, oh, but I could serve everyone. So what? Don't, because a great differentiation strategy can be that you know your market better than anybody else. And let me tell you, that is a huge confidence booster. So this is really one that you have done recently, really pushing, bullying some of our clients into claiming a clear market advantage because they're so good at serving a niche market and not the broader spectrum.
This always brings me back to my networking days when there was one particular person who was selling skincare products, and her big thing was, my customer is anybody with skin. And it made me cringe every time I heard it, because that is not your total addressable market. There is a very, very specific tribe within that addressable market that does have skin, but that is most likely to buy from you, most likely to be an early adopter, most likely to be willing to try something new, to be ready to make a change. You have to understand who those people are if you want to differentiate on purpose for them, because there's something different about your ideal customers, and that's your niche.
Yeah, absolutely. This ad is brought to you by the Marketing Blender Lab.
Marketing is hard for everyone, but small businesses are stuck with small budgets, not enough time, and too many options. SEO, social, paid ads, email marketing, live events. How do you choose where to focus? These are the top challenges I hear from entrepreneurs. You keep getting generic marketing advice that doesn't apply to your business. You've watched tutorials and tried a bunch of tactics that didn't work. You still don't have clarity on what you should focus on to get results. You don't have enough time to get marketing done, and maybe you've worked with freelancers or agencies that have let you down. You can get expert advice and start making real progress. The Marketing Blender Lab gives you an affordable way to work with an experienced chief marketing officer and finally get a handle on your marketing. We help you figure out how to reach your target audience and get more customers, what to focus on so you stop wasting time and money, and how to delegate effectively so you don't have to do it all yourself. Join me in the lab and let's figure out how to grow your revenue faster.
And niche also suggests a trigger that makes them predisposed to buy from you and to buy from you now. Hello, who doesn't want that? And so narrowing it down can actually help you help them to buy from you more frequently, to buy from you more prolifically. I mean, it's very exciting. And so sometimes you have to play small in order to go big. And the more clarity that you can apply to that differentiation strategy, the better.
Differentiation is a challenging thing to claim, and one of the most important exercises that I take my clients through is making a list of everything that they believe is different about their brand and then crossing out everything that their competitors also claim, even if their competitors are not telling the truth. Because here's the reality. People who have not yet done business with your brand can't tell the difference. They don't know who's telling the truth and who's lying. So your differentiation must be something that is different enough from what your competitors are claiming that people can notice it and pay attention to it, understand it, and believe it.
Now, I want to add on to what Daisy's saying, because one of the things that we see when people go through this exercise is that they have a tendency to be a little myopic about what they believe is different, a la what do they believe is important. So let me give you a few other places to really sift through where your differentiation strategy may come from. It might be a unique and really interesting story or a shared history that you have with your addressable market. It could be the vision that you have, especially if it's a shared vision, and that can lead to shared values. So the values that you hold can be a potential value driving, pun intended, differentiation strategy. Also, of course, it can be around your product, but it can be around your operations, how you deliver, how you figured something out in the market. Of course, that extends to, it can be around your innovation, and also it can be around your personality. It is a differentiation strategy if people simply like you better than everyone else. Don't take that stuff for granted. And so often, some of these things on the list are the things that people just don't see anymore because it's just their way of working. It's just how they do things. And that might be where the real gems are actually hidden.
I'd like to also point out that when it comes to brand differentiation, it has to be stuff that people can experience. So brand experience and every touch point along that buyer journey matters. Brand experience is one of the key areas of differentiation because it's hard to do well, which means most of your competitors are too lazy to do this. So don't miss the opportunity to remove every single friction point from the way that your customers and your prospects experience your brand.
I'm not going to chase the squirrel because I do it so frequently on this podcast. So I'll just sum it up. You guys, be beautiful, be interesting, be follow worthy. Do marketing. Make the representation of your brand, your company, everything that you stand for, make it awesome. Come on. So I'll get off my soapbox now.
Soapbox. And so it's my turn for the soapbox. One of the most important things to consider when it comes to differentiation is, do your customers care? If your difference is not something that your customers care about, it is not going to give you an advantage in the marketplace.
This one is so big. And this is probably one of the most heart-wrenching conversations that customers need to go through, meaning our customers. So our clients need to go through, because you mentioned earlier, cross it off the list. If your competitors can name it, cross it off the list. This is another cross it off the list. If the market doesn't care, either cross it off the list or ask, what do they not understand? What's the gap between why we did this, why we built this differentiation strategy, and why the market doesn't give a rat's fanny about it? And it's interesting because that gap actually can be magic, because those might be the words that you simply needed to help the market catch up with why you did that intentionally, and they just didn't realize that maybe there was inherent risk, or maybe there was missed value, or maybe there was increased ROI if they knew what you knew, and they're just not sharing it. So I love what you're saying about the market has to care.
That's a very good point about helping the market understand why the difference matters. And sometimes it's also about when the market cares. So your differentiation, if you have multiple differentiations, they're not always things that people care about right up front. It might come later, and that's why we do messaging choreography, because that differentiation might come down to when it's you against two of your competitors. in the final decision-making process. That might be when that differentiation really comes into play. So understanding when to deploy your brand differentiators is also important.
Absolutely. And you guys, Daisy just dropped a huge bomb at the end around messaging choreography, because especially if you have a complex or complicated environment, your message has to go the distance with the buyer's journey. So we are going to drop that link for that podcast in the show notes so that you can chase that squirrel. Totally worthy one. So listen, just as a reminder, you are already different. You saw something that your competitors didn't see. You saw a way to drive value for your customers. And so make sure to go the distance with how you communicate that and how you distribute that to the market. So thanks so much, you guys, for joining us today. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you like what you're hearing. We would love to hear from you about topics that you want to hear, and we will see you next time. Onward and upward.
We hope you learned something today that will help you succeed with your marketing.
And if you liked what you heard, definitely give us a thumbs up and a subscribe.
Don't forget to check the show notes. We're sharing free tools and resources there.
And you guys, we would love to hear your comments. So drop one in or send us an email, and maybe we'll use your topic on a future show.